Could this be the offseason we actually see the Red Sox move on from Triston Casas? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. My name is Corbett. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. We are still raising money for Movember this month, a foundation for men's mental and physical health. We are getting very, very close to almost 2/3 of the way there. We've already surpassed what we made last season for Movember. Let's see if we can blow them away this year. One person who donates is going to get opening day tickets to 2026 if we hit our $3,000 goal. So make sure you guys are taking advantage of that and donating down below. But anyways, it's sort of our annual will they, won't they, right? Every year, it feels like during the offseason, we make a video about two guys, either Jarren Rand or Triston Casas, and whether or not the Red Sox, this is the offseason that they're going to trade them. Last offseason, it felt like the Red Sox ended up getting pretty close to actually moving Triston Casas in a deal. This year, the rumors are already swirling about it. Specifically, the rumor we were talking about today, or I guess the report we're talking about today, comes from Pete Abraham in the Boston Globe, who in one of his latest articles said other teams have gotten the impression that the Sox would move Casas in a trade, adding that because Casas is not going to cost a ton in arbitration, that could be enticing to some teams. And if I'm being totally honest with you, last offseason, I didn't agree with the idea of the Red Sox trading this guy. This season, I still don't really agree with the Red Sox trading this guy, but it's for a completely different reason. Last offseason, when the Red Sox were looking to move Triston Casas, I was adamantly against it because I firmly believed in the talent that Triston Casas has, right? I thought that his bat was going to be incredibly important to what the Red Sox were trying to build. This offseason, while I still do believe in the talent, it's not because of the talent that I don't want the Red Sox to trade Triston Casas. It's because the value attached to Triston Casas right now is the lowest it's been maybe ever. Right? Triston Casas is coming off of his second year in a row with a major injury. That has to deter teams a little bit as to whether or not Triston Casas is a viable player going forward. Now, these were freak injuries, right? And potentially things that we won't see ever again from Casas, but this has kind of been a pattern throughout even his minor league career, where he's gotten these sort of weird injuries that have taken him off the field. It's not like he has a consistent back problem or a consistent leg problem or whatever it may be. It's just simply the fact that he can't avoid getting injured, and I think a lot of teams are going to negate a lot of his value because of what they're seeing at the major league level this year in terms of just simply not being on the field. And if that doesn't deter a team from wanting Triston Casas, his play on the field also detracts from his value quite a bit. I mean, this season was by far and away the worst season we've seen from Triston Casas at the major league level. He did play almost 30 games for the Red Sox, which is kind of shocking to me, right? It feels like Casas hasn't been a part of this Red Sox team in years at this point, and he kind of hasn't, but he did get some games in 2025. In those 29 games, he had almost a -1 WAR, which is relatively impressive. He hit just 182 over that time span, a 227 on base percentage with a 303 slug for a 580 OPS and a 62 OPS plus. That is 38% lower than your league average hitter. I mean, he was one of the worst hitters in Major League Baseball in that stretch, right? So you combine both of those things here, and maybe trading Triston Casas right now would be nothing more than a player dump, right? I mean, maybe there is one team out there right now who firmly believes in who Triston Casas is and is willing to put something significant on the table for Casas, but even if there is one team out there willing to do that, they have to understand that they don't have any competition, so why would they put a significant piece on the table for Casas, right? To me, it's not so much that, hey, Triston Casas is this invaluable talent like he was last offseason. This offseason, it's more Triston Casas doesn't have any value on the open market. Why would the Red Sox move this guy, especially when you have names like Duran, Abreu, even in your farm system like Johan Fran Garcia, who, one, you have a better replacement for at the major league level, and two, have much more value on the open market, right? If you're looking to improve this team this season, you want a deal from your major league team, those guys are going to be able to get you something much more impactful than Triston Casas is. Now, baseball trade values, actually does have Casas with a kind of significant amount of value considering how little he's played over the last 2 seasons. They have him at $13.5 million, which would hypothetically get you something very, very interesting on the open market. But again, the baseball trade values isn't so much the holy Bible when it comes to trades. It's mostly just a baseline, and I kind of disagree with them here. I don't think the Red Sox have $13.5 million in value for Triston Casas right now. I think honestly, it's closer towards a net zero, where yes, he's not a negative player and there still is potential there, but he hasn't done enough at the major league level, especially over the last couple of seasons, to warrant a truly valuable player. So if I don't think the Red Sox are going to or should trade Triston Casas, what the hell do they end up doing with him? Now, I know there are going to be actually a pretty decent amount of people in this comment section who are saying just dump this guy, right? It feels like Red Sox Nation has this sort of weird obsession over Triston Casas in a negative way where they just don't like the person, right? So they don't care about the player. They don't care about what he could do. They just simply care about they don't like his personality. And again, I don't agree. If you're just simply dumping this guy, I think you're making the wrong move. Unless there is a team that surprisingly blows you away, the talent, in my opinion, is worth holding on to, especially with the lack of value he has right now. I mean, yes, the 2025 season was miserable. Yes, the 2025 season showed that there is a real potential that Triston Casas is a legitimate bust. But if you look back at, even partial seasons here before the 2025 season, he was productive in every other year he was up here. 2023 was his only full season in a Red Sox uniform, and during that year, he had a .263 average at .856 OPS, and he had 24 home runs. You get that out of Triston Casas going forward, you completely change your lineup. To want to dump that, especially when he's going to likely cost less than $2 million this season, is just simply not smart baseball. Even in other appearances here where they were partial seasons, if you look, he was a well above average hitter with thump. If you want him traded right now, it's nothing more than a personal disdain for who the guy is. But that also doesn't mean it's smart baseball for the Red Sox to keep a spot open for this guy, right? To come into the 2026 season and saying, hey, look, we think Triston Casas is going to be healthy. We think Triston Casas is going to be the guy he was in 2023 is also dumb baseball. You have to figure out a way to balance it out. You have to figure out a way, and this isn't going to be incredibly easy for Breslow, but I do think it is the smart thing to do. Balance out the ability for Casas to impact this lineup, but you have to balance out the other side of that as well, right? You can't let him sink the Boston Red Sox either, so what does that ultimately end up looking like? So here's what I ultimately think the Red Sox should/will do with Triston Casas in 2026. I think he's in this Red Sox organization. I think first and foremost, they will make sure he is fully healthy. In 2024, they did kind of push him back a little bit, right? He, made all those weird comments about his injury. He was off and then he was on again. And ultimately, the Red Sox were like, look, dude, put up or shut up, get back to this team, or, really, we're going to sit you out for the rest of the year. He chose to come back. Obviously, when he came back, he wasn't the same player that he was in 2025. Obviously, he was out for the entire season. And this was an injury that's not going to be incredibly easy for Triston Casas to get back on the field with, right? When we first talked about Triston Casas going down with this knee injury and the surgery that ended up happening after that, we talked a lot about how there have been very few players in Major League Baseball who have gotten this surgery. So the first thing that they need to do is make sure he's fully healthy. If he's ready to go opening day, fantastic. But if he isn't, the Red Sox, they're not going to push him back. They're going to say, look, take your time, right? If it's a month or two into the season, okay, as long as you're 100% ready to go before you touch the field again. And when he does start the field again, I think it's going to be in AAA. I think from their point of view, he has options left on the table, so it's not going to be like you're giving away money to send Triston Casas down there. And it would allow him to get his footing again in baseball and build his confidence back up without the added pressure of having to be an everyday starter at the big leagues. Once he starts mashing down there, which he will, again, we go back to the talent ceiling here, then you have a couple of options. By letting him produce in AAA for a few months or a couple months or whatever it may be, you are building up his trade value. So if you do want to move on from Triston Casas, at the bare minimum, putting him in AAA, showing other teams that he is healthy first and foremost, but secondly, that talent is still in there, could make him an ideal candidate to move at this year's deadline, right? If you hold on to him until the deadline, let him build up that value, well, now you can potentially bring in something a little bit more impactful than what you'd be able to get right now. Or second, and in my opinion, the better option of the two would be to allow him to build up his confidence, allow him to build up his ability in AAA, and then bring him up to the big league team to see what he could do at the big league level. Now, that's not saying the Red Sox should sign a nobody at first base to hold Triston Casas' spot, but we've talked a lot about the idea that the Red Sox don't love Masataka Yoshida, right? That there is still talent there. The Red Sox still believe in the talent, but they don't love the fact that he's not a powered forward guy. They don't love the fact that he's really a DH strictly type player. If they end up moving off of him this offseason, there's a real potential that that DH spot becomes a bit of versatility for the Red Sox, right? That they use it as sort of a mix-in spot that allows guys to get off their feet every other day or whatever it may end up being. If the Red Sox do end up with, let's say, a Pete Alonso or a Kazuma or whoever it may be over there at first base, they could bring Triston Casas up as a lion's share of the DH spot in the second half of the season, right? He could platoon at first base because both of those guys are righties, and he could play mostly DH. And again, you go back to what could that do for the Red Sox? As much as I love Masataka Yoshida, well, not love, as much as I like Masataka Yoshida, and I think he can still be impactful at the major league level given a fully healthy season, what Triston Casas did in 2023 is head and shoulders above what, in my opinion, I think the ceiling of Masataka Yoshida is. If the Red Sox are confident they can get 2023 Casas, which they shouldn't be at this moment right now, but later down the road could be, that's a lot more impactful for this Red Sox team. Craig Breslow has spent this entire offseason talking about adding Thump to this lineup. You need to add Thump via the free agency, absolutely, but you add Thump from within the internal organization here with a guy like Triston Casas. Again, you go back to the idea of completely transforming this lineup. All of a sudden, you go from two guys who had over 20 home runs this season for the Red Sox in Story and Wilyer Abreu to potentially two guys and whatever Roman Anthony and Wilyer Abreu and Trevor Story give you who could potentially be over 30 home runs. And I get it, Triston Casas hasn't done that at the major league level, and I understand that he probably won't be able to get there in 2026, but if he gives you that sort of ratio, right, if he hits 22 home runs in, let's say, 100 games or whatever it may be, that's a lot of home run potential you are adding to this lineup. And to me, that makes the most sense here. If we see a lineup at some point this season with Casas at DH, I think the Red Sox are in a really good spot. Look, I get people have this personal vendetta against him, right? I understand that people don't like that his nails are purple. My personal opinion, I don't care if the dude wears pink eyeshadow to the dish, as long as this dude is going to be impactful for the Boston Red Sox, right? And I think a lot of people are in that same boat here. We can have a debate as to whether or not you still believe in the talent. I think that's a much more interesting conversation, but I just don't agree with the ideology of hating the guy for who he is. Personally, if you were going to trade Triston Casas, the time to have traded him was either coming into the 2025 season or it was coming into the 2024 season, right? You missed your window of opportunity to do it in either of those. If the Red Sox aren't blown away by an offer for Triston Casas, I just don't think it makes sense to let this guy go for absolutely nothing, given the potential talent ceiling that he has. The worst thing the Red Sox could do would be to trade this guy for absolutely nothing and watch him explode for a Pirates or a Royals or whoever, right? It would just be, one of those trades that you immediately lose just simply right away because you're not going to get that value back for him. So what do the Red Sox do? In my opinion, they hold on to him. They let him build up his value either for the deadline or to impact this team later on in the season. In all honesty, it's kind of a risk-free scenario. What's the worst thing that happens if the Red Sox hold on to him? Right, they're not deterring his trade value all that much. It's not high right now. If he ends up looking like he did in 2025 at the big league level, if say he gets a cup of coffee up here or anything, it's not going to make him a worse trade candidate. It's just going to keep him about the same, right? So to me, I just don't get the idea of trading Triston Casas right now. I think there are more impactful, better trade candidates on the Boston Red Sox who could legitimately bring you back something you really, really need. I just don't think that guy is Triston Casas. So no, I don't agree with the idea of trading Triston Casas, but to me, it's for a completely different reason than it was back in 2025. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? What do you think about the idea of trading Triston Casas? I'm sure you guys have your opinions on it. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.